to Let's Grapple with STVO. It is me. How are you all doing, Too Sweet Cosplay Nation? This is my first YouTube show. I'm hoping to make it a weekly thing. I'm gonna try to at least. Basically, the gist of this show is we're gonna discuss wrestling topics. We'll do one off-topic discussion, a piece of history. I'll try to feature some cosplays on here, and if ever I can do it, I might try to get some cosplay tips here and there from maybe a few cosplayers, maybe myself. But yeah, I'm gonna try to make this not your typical wrestling show. I want it to be something fun, something a little geeky, something just entertaining, something you don't regularly see. And I want you all to give any and all feedback to me when the show is done. The intro song, I mean, it's from a video game. I'd like for you guys to guess that in the comments when the show is done, or you can do it right now and then comment along with the show. But let me know what you think. It's gonna be the temporary theme song for Let's Grapple, but you never know, I might change it up. But I figured something a little catchy, something obscure, and just something that I think will go well with my personality. So just make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, or if you aren't a fan of this video, let me know what you think in the comments. But let's begin the show. First off, I want to discuss the Superstar Shakeup, which as of this recording will be taking place tomorrow on Monday Night Raw. And I'm gonna make some I'm gonna tell you guys who I think should go from Raw to SmackDown, SmackDown to Raw, and maybe do a little NXT call-ups here. So let's begin this. All right, let's start off with Monday Night. Let's start off with Raw, who I'd like to see come forward from there. This portion will be just the SmackDown to Raw. I will elaborate more on some NXT call-ups and some of the current call-ups who are kind of floating between shows, such as Ricochet, Aleister Black, and Heavy Machinery, Lacey Evans, etc. I'll get more into that in a short moment. But first off, I think that the number one pick I'd like to see go to Monday Night Raw. I know it's different with Superstar Shakeup. It's not really picks, or I don't really know. It's WWE, so go with the flow. The first one I'd like to see is AJ Styles. I think it's time for him to leave the blue brand and get some new feuds over on Monday Night Raw. I mean, they're looking to do big things with both shows. USA Network is throwing big money just to keep Raw alone. They sacrificed SmackDown, but they said, okay, we'll pay more to keep Monday Night Raw going every Monday on our channel. And SmackDown is coming to Fox, who they put $1 billion into getting the deal over the course of 5 years. So they got to get big stars on both shows. But anyways, with AJ Styles, I think it would be a fresh outlook for him. He hasn't been on Raw for a long time. He's been on SmackDown ever since the whole brand split has returned. I mean, he had matches back after the 2016 Royal Rumble, but I'd like to see him some fresh new rivalries. Maybe he and Finn Balor can revisit a rivalry, or they can be teammates taking on other people. I'd like to see AJ Styles go against Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship maybe this summer. I think that would be an outstanding match, and I think that there's a lot of potential in that. The next pick I put would be Sonya Deville. I think it's time she and Mandy split. I mean, they keep teasing things, but then they say, oh, Fire and Desire are a team. So I think it's time they split. They hinted at it multiple times. They don't really clash well together. Sonya has more of the fighting spirit. Mandy's the cocky heel, just like a classic Trish Stratus style heel back when she was a heel. That's how I see Mandy. So with Sonya, I think she should be built up and get a big push. Her MMA background is great. She has the look. They could do some things with the whole LGBT aspect of her, but I think she should just be someone who comes in, kicks some ass solo, and just maybe could be potential candidate to take on the man Becky Lynch down the road. I think that'd be great. Not expecting it right away, but I think she could get a couple solid singles victories, maybe defeat Natalia, and just go from there. We'll see how it goes. Pick number 3. Actually, this will be an interesting one. Might even be a controversial one. But I'd say draft Big E and Xavier Woods to Monday Night Raw. Kind of like how it happened with like the Shield. I mean, I know that they were kind of feuding ends at that point, but have Kofi be the world champion of SmackDown. Have Big E and Xavier come and help the Raw tag team division. I think that'd be great. They don't have to necessarily split up and be enemies and have a rivalry. It could be like the classic Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart split up, where they just kind of go their own ways. Bret became a huge singles star, won the IC championship, and a year later he went on to win the WWE Heavyweight Championship against Ric Flair. So that's my take. I think that they should kind of try to freshen up the New Day. They don't have to split up on pay-per-views. They can rejoice, work as a team, things like that. But just for now, I have to say, let Kofi go solo for a while on SmackDown and have the New Day, Xavier Woods and Big E, win the tag team titles on Monday Night Raw. 4th pick, Naomi. I think that, she's been on SmackDown the past couple years. I think there'd be another fresh outlook. I think that would be great for her to come to Monday Night Raw. She can have some new rivalries. Go from there. Finally, I say split up Sheamus and Cesaro. All right, so I have 3 splits on there. This may get some thumbs down because I'm splitting up all the teams, but hey, that's what WWE does. They've split up Big Cass and Enzo when they were hot, but let's see. Let's give them a try. And they're not really winning that much these days, anyways. Ever since really, the whole Nicholas and Braun Strowman defeating them at WrestleMania 34, which I was there for live. It was amusing live, but in hindsight, it's like, why'd you guys have to do that? I would say have Sheamus go to Raw and, be a singles star again and maybe give Cesaro a big singles push on SmackDown. I remember a couple years back, he said he wanted to be on SmackDown because he thought there was more opportunities there versus Raw in storyline. But, they kind of were playing into the whole real life aspect where SmackDown's more of the land of opportunities, but I digress. Now it's time for Raw stars to SmackDown. This one's contingent on if Ronda Rousey is sticking around, which I'm pretty sure she is. I believe there was an interview on TMZ where her contract's not ending until 2021. She may take a bit of a break, of course. I mean, that's expected with some of these stars. We've been seeing a few stars missing in action lately, so hey, why not have Ronda Rousey come to SmackDown? Fox supposedly wants her, so why don't we get her on the show? Get some hype behind it. A big move to SmackDown. It looks like I wrote this one down, but you never know. I think she may be departing. We could discuss that a little bit. Sasha Banks. I was going to suggest, since Team Boss and Hug lost the tag titles, why don't they kind of go solo directions and try something new? But obviously I didn't want them feuding again. We had dealt with all that crap last year, which went to nothing. But if Sasha Banks isn't sticking around, allegedly Bayley's not happy. But hey, if she does stick around, we can either go Sasha or Bayley to SmackDown. I think that would be a great opportunity for them to kind of rebuild their singles careers and go from there. Heck, maybe Bayley can find a new tag team partner and go for the tag titles again. Change things up. Give one of them a new attitude if they're sticking around. But I'm just gonna go with Sasha or Bayley to SmackDown. Obviously, if they don't leave and try to go to AEW, New Japan, whatever, go with that. I think that would be great. The next up, I would say move the Revival to SmackDown. I'm glad they finally got to have their Raw tag team titles reign. I think that's great. But why not have them go to SmackDown? Why not have them feud with the Usos? I think that would be a phenomenal rivalry. I think that would be great. If New Day ends up sticking around, they can have a feud there. I don't know. I think that there's more potential for the Revival on SmackDown versus Raw. I know that's usually the case, but I'm just going to go with that. I think that the Revival would be great on SmackDown. Next up, I would say Braun Strowman to SmackDown. They kind of had a tease on the previous episode of SmackDown with, Samoa Joe. He came out, beat up R-Truth. Braun Strowman came down. I guess you can excuse it all because it was the Raw and SmackDown respectively after WrestleMania, but there was an awful lot of cross-branding on those shows. I mean, again, I'll just give the excuse, okay, this is the Raw, these are the shows after WrestleMania, we can have a little crossover. But starting with the Superstar Shakeup, starting tomorrow, it's time to change things up. Just make sure, maybe now Braun Strowman will be adamant on trying to get to SmackDown so he can take on Samoa Joe for the U.S. title. I would be interested in the rivalry. They got a lot of rebuilding to do with Braun in order to get him back in the world title scene. My personal opinion is after Crown Jewel with Brock Lesnar squashing him, I think they have a lot of rebuilding to do with the guy. I don't know. There's been too many moments where you think he's going to get the world title, but then they go another direction, unfortunately. Poor guy. Finally, this is probably one of the biggest ones of them all. This is my final pick for SmackDown from the main roster. I would say if WWE is full-on serious on trying to make SmackDown either an equal brand to Monday Night Raw or a full-out, superior version, because I think in their press release of SmackDown coming to Fox, they were calling it their flagship show. So if that's really the case, why don't you bring your flagship guy of Roman Reigns over to SmackDown Live? Why not? It would give the brand bigger recognition. I think it would, that would give some fresher feuds, some opportunities. I'd like to see Roman and Joe go at it again on SmackDown. I don't know. I think just change is always welcomed. You got to keep it fresh. I know back in the day where they wouldn't risk moving a guy like John Cena or Randy Orton to SmackDown because they were so overzealous of trying to get Raw over as the superior show because they didn't really have a dependable network for SmackDown. I mean, I guess they had the CW for a while. That was good, but then it got moved to My Network TV, and then it was on Sci-Fi, which is good, but it isn't like on a USA Network or a bigger broadcast network, so they weren't taking it as serious. But I mean, they're on Fox. It's a big deal. It's one of the top 4 TV networks around, so I think they got to take it a little more serious, put some heavy hitters onto the show. All right, so on to that. This will be the portion where I will finalize where all these recent NXT call-ups will get moved to, and I might even throw on some new NXT call-ups to the main roster. So, starting off to Raw, Aleister Black is going to be finalized as being on that show only. Nikki Cross will also be on Raw only. Time will tell if she will, be a bigger player, if she'll be on a Dana Brooke level, but for right now, I'd say just have her be on have her be on Monday Night Raw. Lars Sullivan, who finally made his appearance on the main roster after the whole hype of being called up. First off, it was, Lars Sullivan's coming to the main roster. Which brand is he going to sign with? And then he was part of the 6 NXT call-ups. They didn't finalize his spot, and he was off TV for a long time until now. Several different rumors saying what went on. I won't get into that, but have Lars Sullivan be on Raw. Have this be a page to the main roster like moment. Have NXT champion Shayna Baszler come on to Monday Night Raw and say she wants Becky Lynch, and she'll keep destroying anybody who gets in her way until she gets that match with her. Have her be Becky's main opponent on the Raw brand if Charlotte and Ronda are taking a hiatus for so-and-so reasons. Becky is the champ of both shows. It's kind of like the early brand extension days of 2002, where Hulk Hogan would have a feud with The Undertaker on Raw. Meanwhile, on SmackDown, he'd be feuding with Chris Jericho. Do something like that. I think that would be great. All right, so for this NXT call-up, I'm going to have Undisputed Era members Adam Cole and Bobby Fish come to Monday Night Raw. I'm going to get into it a little bit, why it's just those two in a moment. But how about we get into the NXT call-ups to SmackDown? So we're going to have Ricochet go to SmackDown permanently. Might feud for the United States title with Joe. We'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for great feuds. Maybe he and Mustafa Ali could team up in the tag team division and maybe even win the tag titles from the Usos or another team. Heavy Machinery will be moved to SmackDown. They're I don't know, a bit of a hot streak lately. They were a very comedic team, but apparently Vince McMahon likes them. And I mean, they're not a bad team. They're very funny. They do well in the ring, and supposedly they have a hard work ethic. So whether they land on Raw or SmackDown, I wish them the best, but I'm just going to put them on SmackDown if it was up to me. Lacey Evans would be on SmackDown. She'll, have that pay-per-view feud with Becky Lynch, because, I mean, that's apparently where they're teasing it for. I mean, she knocked Becky out twice on Raw and then SmackDown, so they might have something big planned for Lacey. I don't know if she'll win a title from Becky. I can't see her being the dual champion. And they haven't been talking about Becky being the undisputed women's champion. They've, hyped that she's been a champion on both shows, and Becky herself said she'll be working double duty. So I'd say if Becky is going to lose one of the titles, why not drop a SmackDown women's title? I think the better choice would be to have her drop it to Asuka, but they have a lot of hype on Lacey Evans, so if she takes any belt away from Becky, I would say have it be the SmackDown title, and then Becky remains Raw Women's Champion for the meantime. And next team that I'd have called up to the main roster would actually be the Sky Pirates, Io Shirai and Kairi Sane. That's going to be the team I think should be called up by Paige. Paige will be their manager and help them against the Iconics and any other team. I think that'd be a good fit. I think Paige would be a good manager for them. And then finally, Undisputed Era members Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly go to SmackDown. And they kind of announce an ultimatum where they're going to divide the faction, but to take over the whole main roster together as the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole and Fish will, dominate the Raw tag team division, dominate the title scene. They'll aim to take out Seth Rollins. Meanwhile, Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly would be on a goal to take out Kofi Kingston and any other people who would oppose. I mean, this is probably, very unrealistic for me, and it's more of a dream scenario, but I'd like to see something like the Nexus or the NWO happen, and do something where there's a brand or there's a team that's out to take over both the main roster shows, not just one faction on Raw trying to take over and one faction on SmackDown, but I want them to try to take over the whole damn organization. So I think that would be great. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe they'll be called up to one brand. Maybe they'll be in NXT another year. I mean, I did think that Adam Cole would hold the NXT championship before being called up, but Johnny Gargano won it, became the first Triple Crown NXT champion. I think that's great and all, but yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with the Undisputed Era, but I think that would be something a little different and fun to see. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about on today's show is going to be an off-topic comment. It's about Disney Plus. What do you guys think of it? Have you heard of it? In short, basically, it's Disney's answer to Netflix. They're going to have all this cool content from the Disney Vault. They're going to have all these new Marvel shows. They're going to use the Star Wars properties. They're going to use the newly acquired 20th Century Fox properties. And they're going to give it to you all for only like $6.99. I believe Netflix went up to $12.99 just recently for, like a standard rate. I mean, that's almost half of what Netflix is charging. That's a very, very good deal considering all the content you're going to be getting. I mean, it's almost like the WWE Network, the Disney equivalent to the WWE Network, because supposedly they're going to include all the classic animated features, like if you want to watch Pinocchio or Toy Story or Wreck-It Ralph or The Lion King, you can go onto the Disney Plus service and go view any of the movies. And, I mean, buying them individually can be pricey on DVD or even digital, but now you'll have a whole access to the library. I'm not really sure if it's going to include like live action movies or not, to what extent. I'm not really sure. But in an interview with Bob Iger, I guess that he said that, subscribers are going to have access to the whole Disney Vault. I mean, that'd be great. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I think that alone might make it worth it. If you're a Simpsons fan, you'll have access to seasons 1 through 30 of the show, which that's pretty damn cool. I'm seasons 1 through 10 Simpsons fan, so I think for that alone, that'd be great. You don't have to deal with some of these ways of getting it, like whether it's the DVDs or sometimes there's going to be ads on the FX app, the Simpsons World app to be exact. Unfortunately, that's the thing. You're not going to be able to get access to all those episodes if you're just like going to strictly rely on that app to get through it. So if you want to watch all your Simpsons episodes, either buy the DVDs or pay $6.99 a month for Disney Plus. I guess they're going to kind of be like the whole Netflix deal right now with how Netflix gets some of these newer Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars releases. That's going to be moving to Disney Plus instead. They're going to have it be where, let's say, the live-action Lion King movie is coming out. You won't be able to get that on Netflix once it's finally going to be released on video. You're going to have to wait for it to hit Disney Plus. Avengers Endgame, you'll have to wait for that to hit Disney Plus. Unless, correct me if I'm wrong, if the Netflix deal is through the end of the year. I'm not really sure the logistics. But going forward, you're going to have to get it on Disney Plus, as it won't be coming to Netflix anymore. Another thing going on is they have a couple different shows in development in the Star Wars and Marvel universe. They have Loki, a solo Loki series. They're going to have Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's going to be a series for Star Wars called The Mandalorian. By the way, I went to a Star Wars celebration yesterday with my girlfriend, her niece, and family. We all had a great time. It was very fun with all the little exhibits you can see there. I guess there's a lot of hype there. They showed the whole Star Wars Episode 9 trailer, I believe, on Friday. It's a good time. If you went to the celebration, let us know in the comments and let us know what you thought about it. So another supposed thing is I hear they might try to get some of the ABC and anything under Touchstone or ABC Studios classic sitcoms. They might try to get like Boy Meets World. They might try to get some Disney Channel shows like That's So Raven. None of that's officially confirmed, but I've seen that be a potential talk of stuff we might be able to see on there. Then also they're going to have some original movies, maybe more remakes, rehashes. I guess there's going to be a live-action Lady and the Tramp movie. I think you can find a trailer, like at least a teaser of that now. That's going to be on Disney Plus instead of theaters. It's going to be either straight to digital, I guess you call it these days. You don't call it straight to DVD nor straight to video. It's straight to digital. There's going to be a Father of the Bride movie, and then a Three Men and a Baby. I guess they're going to be remakes of the original movies from the 1980s. Go figure. Going on to digital and more into wrestling, let's talk about AEW. There's been a lot of talk. It's someone called the Fight Oracle on Twitter. I never heard of them. If you look at their Twitter account, they were just made in January of 2019. So I'm not really sure what the big reputable source behind them is. I'm not trying to knock them. I mean, Too Sweet Cosplay is only a couple years old, so you can make that argument against us. But I mean, it just seems like out of the blue. But every news outlet's reporting that supposedly AEW might have a deal with Time Warner Media, which is also owned by AT&T and Warner Brothers. That would be very amazing. And if you didn't know, they own TNT, TBS, the CW, Adult Swim, True TV. They own a lot of big networks. But the big thing of that is TNT and TBS obviously were the channels that used to air WCW back when it was a hot commodity. And even they aired WCW Saturday Night when that was where it wasn't as big as the WWF, but I mean still a hot thing. But then Nitro came along and started pummeling WWE in the ratings, and just a lot of comparisons are being drawn between AEW and WCW. I think we're all trying to look at it as the half full versus half empty way. But yeah, they're trying to get their feet off the ground and just really try to get things going. So we'll see what happens. I guess if I were to go with one of those networks, and I think that's the rumor, is that it's likely going to be on TNT under the title Tuesday Night Dynamite. I think that'd be a perfect fit. And supposedly this is also going to be happening when SmackDown moves to Fox on Fridays. The week that happens is the week that show will debut on TNT, if that's allegedly supposed to happen. I think there's a very strong possibility it will happen. And another thing I wanted to note here was that there's a couple things actually. First off, with AT&T, Time Warner, they own the CW, and the CW is going to have the final season of Arrow, which features Stephen Amell. So, I mean, there's a lot of great crossover possibility during the final season of Arrow, even if it's only in the commercials, just hyping up AEW. They can have Stephen appear on an episode of Tuesday Night Dynamite. He can have, whether it's him having a match or just making an appearance and being part of a storyline, there's a lot of potential. Lots of crossover potential, lots of hype. Some things that the dirt sheets actually suggested, which I think is pretty awesome if it's true, is that HBO could be the providers of the AEW pay-per-views, because HBO is also under the AT&T Time Warner banner. So I think that would be pretty awesome if they can get it on HBO Go, because as of this recording, they're going to actually have the final season of Game of Thrones begin. So I mean, it's a very watched app. So I think that could benefit both AEW and HBO. And actually, I was with EJV Ezra. We were both at the AEW panel at C2E2. So something we did try to do, I asked during the Q&A session of the panel. Sorry, dog's going off. But no, I tried asking at the panel. Basically just ask them that, Netflix I think would be a great option. Maybe you could do a live stream and then just have it be on demand. They said that the idea is pretty good. However, I think they have something where the wheels are in motion and things are almost ready to take place and be announced. Maybe that could be them going to TNT and other things. I mean, it's very exciting to see a potential growth of an upstart company with some very great guys. So we all met them over the weekend and previous conventions, the Too Sweet Cosplay game and I. Yeah, lots of great potential. I just hope for nothing but the best. I think that WWE can use a really solid competitor, and we can use another quality alternative. I really want a competitor. I don't want this to be on AXS TV. With all due respect to New Japan and WoW Women of Wrestling, it needs to be on a channel that can be widely seen. We need something that will give Vince McMahon a run for his money and try to say, okay, we got to up the quality of WWE programming. We need something that can do that, and I think AEW could very well be that program. So I'm going to do a little slide here of all the great cosplayers that tagged us and just showcase some of their cosplays from Axxess. I want to thank you guys very much for it. I'm going to try to do some kind of cosplay showcase each week. You know, I'm going to try to get to everybody I can, and if I left anyone out, I sincerely apologize. But I want to give a shout out to a couple of these cosplayers and show a few of the photos through this thing. Hoping with my video editing skills, I'm still somewhat of a novice, that I will get this displayed properly. But anyways, I want to give a shout out to Yakums, Cosplay Bliss, The Era of Awesome, Dark Loku, Buddy from the UK, Taker.uk, Kurt Angle Guy, aka Will Choi, aka the Too Sweet Cosplay Referee, Carter Griffin, 777, Hammy Kawaii, Abby257, and Scrispy9983, aka the Dudley family, with them and their adorable daughters cosplaying as classic ECW family. It's very cute. You should see it. Pretty okay cosplay. And finally, Masa Redtail. You guys look like you had a great time at WrestleCon, WrestleMania Axxess, WrestleMania period. All those events. I appreciate you guys showing your photos and videos and everything. I still have a lot of stuff to upload from you guys, as well as everybody who's made submissions to Too Sweet Cosplay. Can't thank you guys enough for showcasing your work, and I enjoy trying to have Too Sweet Cosplay be the hub for all things wrestling cosplay, and just try to get the word out about everybody who does a wrestling cosplay or just have fun and get the word out about our events. It's what we love to do. It's a great thing. We love doing wrestling cosplay. We love showcasing and seeing everybody's wrestling cosplay. So again, thank you so much for that. We can't appreciate it enough. I'm gonna do a little history piece before we close the show. It was this day on April 14th, 2015. This would have been Daniel Bryan's final match, had the retirement stick and go beyond last year to now and beyond. His final match ever was a tag team match with him and John Cena versus Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. Can you believe they were once a tag team? I'm so used to Cesaro being a tag team with, being a tag team with Sheamus as the bar. So I keep forgetting that Kidd and Cesaro were a team, but they're a great team. Don't get me wrong about that. But it's just crazy to see that they were once a tag team. But I'm even more thankful that Daniel Bryan, almost a year later, he retires on February 2016 on Raw, gives an emotional speech. We all thought he would never wrestle again, at least not unless he left WWE to try to do it elsewhere. So I'm just grateful that he's still wrestling and everything. He's a great guy, great wrestler. Really got the whole vegan planet thing over very well. Sorry, if you hear the puppy barking, that's Finley. He's just ready for me to come join him and my girlfriend Raquel to watch Game of Thrones. It's almost going to be on, so he's telling me to hustle up. With that being said, I want to say thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Let's Grapple. I'm hoping to make this a weekly thing. I appreciate any input you give, whether it's, if you want to give any compliments of the show, any suggestions to say what can be improved. If you guys like to do the on-topic, off-topic comments, just let me know. I'm always willing to listen to any suggestions. And also, I'm going to start doing questions. You can ask me any questions on Twitter. Just go to tweet at me at STVO, and use that hashtag AskSTVO. So once again, I want to say thank you all so much for watching, and you have a wonderful day.